place to collect information, and they didn't recommend global emergency on January 23. Then after a few days, they got information and evidence, and they came back. I reconvened again on January 30, and they were then very confident because of the information they collected. And when they decided the global emergency on January 30, they had a consensus to recommend that to me. And this was based on science and evidence. And during that time, on January 30th, the number of cases we had outside China were only 82 cases, and there was no death. So, meaning, I repeat again, the world had enough time to intervene. And I can say it again, me and my colleagues believe that, and the emergency committee, this public health emergency, the global emergency on January 30, was actually declared in a timely fashion that allows enough time for the rest of the world to respond, because we only had 82 cases and no deaths. I repeat, 82 cases and no deaths. To declare global emergency in that situation, I think it says it all. It says it all. And anything between 22 and 30th January was to collect information. And then the other thing I would like to say is, even between 22 January or 23 January and 30th January, we didn't waste any time. We didn't want to waste any time. And as Mike said, we had to move immediately, travel to Beijing immediately to discuss with the leadership and to see for ourselves the situation in China. I remember then people telling us, advising us not to travel to China because this virus is new, you don't know how it behaves, you're putting your life at risk. And we said, no, we go. Because there are people who are putting themselves at risk in China and elsewhere. So our life is not different from them. We're actually the responsible guys to fight the virus and other outbreaks. So we should put ourselves first, actually, and we will go. The virus is unknown, but we're not afraid of the virus. We will go and check, even if it's putting ourselves at risk. That was when there were many unknowns of the virus traveling to the country where the outbreak was raging. But it's not just a travel to China, which should be considered as a big deal, because, as you know, when Ebola was raging in DRC, with my colleagues, we have traveled, myself included, in 1 year 14 times. It's almost once a month, because we need to be on the ground to see for ourselves. And that's what we did within the two meetings between 23 January and 30th January. No time was wasted to see for ourselves, even exposing ourselves to a virus which we don't know how it behaves. And that's what we do, not only for Corona, but Ebola. And Ebola in DRC, not just exposing ourselves to Ebola 14 times, but exposing ourselves to the bullets in eastern DRC, because there is a security problem in eastern DRC, in North Kivu. But that's WHO's job. That's why we say we're proud to be WHO, because we always put our lives on the line to save lives. And that's why I'm proud to be WHO and to join all my colleagues, because they put their lives on the line every single day. We lost people in DRC. They gave their lives while saving others. And even recently, we lost our colleague in Myanmar collecting a sample for COVID, and he was killed. So that was what we did within the 5 days we had. That's the time when we also agreed with China to send the international experts to go and assist China to check for themselves, which was a groundbreaking negotiation and agreement that China agreed. And the experts were from many countries like Japan, South Korea, the United States, Singapore, Russia, Nigeria, and others. They opened up to work with international experts. And that's what we did between 23 January and 30th January. And I repeat, the 30th January was a timely declaration of the highest level of global emergency based on the International Health Regulation, which is WHO's mandate.
Thank you very much. If maybe Professor Hussain would like to add something to this, the chair of the Emergency Committee.
I think that Dr. Tedros explained very clearly the situation and the situation in which the Emergency Committee was on the 22nd and 23rd. That is, on the 22nd and 23rd, there were 4 cases abroad, of course with no death. And of course, in French, we call it lucidité a posteriori. Lucidité a posteriori is an easy task, but it's more difficult to look forward and to anticipate what will happen exactly. So I think that, as said Dr. Tedros, the declaration of a fake was taken at the right time. You remember that sometimes WHO is accused of being too early, like in 2009 for H1N1, too late, like for Ebola. I think in this case, WHO decided in a timely manner. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Hussain, the chair of the Emergency Committee Group of Independent Experts. Just to let you know that we have just sent some Mexican news agency, Gabriela. Gabriela, can you hear us? You need to...
Hola, hola.
Hola.
¿Me escuchan?
Sí.
¿Me escuchan?
Sí, sí, please go ahead.
Ah, ok. Muchísimas gracias por darme la palabra. Es una delicia poder hablar en español. Preocupación porque en México la tasa de letalidad por el COVID es del 9.4%. Es mucho más alta que en Estados Unidos, por ejemplo. Entonces me gustaría saber qué es lo que observan ustedes con respecto a la situación en México, especialmente porque están haciendo el confinamiento, pero no están haciendo los test. No han hecho muchas pruebas como ustedes recomiendan. Entonces, ¿cuáles son los riesgos de tomar solamente una estrategia? En otras palabras, si tuvieran que elegir entre confinamiento y medidas de salud pública, incluyendo el test, pues ¿cuál escogerían?
So I can start, and perhaps Mike or DG would like to supplement. So, you had a couple questions in there. The first one about mortality. I think we've spent a little bit of time of trying to describe the difficulties in estimating mortality as events unfold. There's quite some variation in mortality by country if you actually look at how many, if it's defined as how many deaths are reported among the cases that are reported. And there's challenges with that. One is depending on the testing strategy and how much testing is being done, you may be missing cases that are on the more mild end of the spectrum, and so that's important to understand. In terms of mortality and